Ever watch Ellen? You know how like she comes out dancing? I always just want to come out dancing for this. Cool. Alright, what's up everybody? Nicktendo episode 14 already. I'm going to bring my guest right on. This is our new office space for the day. Dylan, come on back on. You haven't been on since
what's up, everybody?
episode 2, man.
Yeah.
Like, think about how long ago that was. That's 12 weeks. Like, I didn't expect this to go as long as it does. Yeah, because this is 14, so that's 3 months ago. I know, seriously. So, I was at one point going to go, like, bi-weekly with the show, and then it just all came crashing down. Today we're going to talk about Overwatch. We'll give it a few minutes to have some more people come on. I can't see anything there. Kev, what's up? No, you're good. Yeah, for now. So we're going to go over the game a little bit. We're going to do a couple of games. Like if you've watched the show before, I try and play Love It or Hate It. That was actually the first game, if you remember the episode with Dan. We played Love It or Hate It.
Yeah, that was Walking Dead, right?
Yeah, and it was on the relationship. So today you and me are going to play the same game. Well, you're going to play the game. I'm going to ask you, you're going to fire your answer. And then I have a new game we're going to play that I'm going to try to incorporate to every show also. So yeah, we're going to explain the game. We're going to kind of explain the way we play. That's the big thing, is this is going to go kind of biased in one way. So give your best answers when we play the second game. I want you guys, you'll get involved. I'll tell you what to do while we're doing it. Again, thanks for letting us use the space. I have a ton of stuff for you because every time you win something, I see you more often than any other viewer, I think. But I never remember to give you your stuff. So while we're going around, mention your favorite player, your favorite hero, your least favorite hero. Tell us something you like about the game, something you don't. Hansi will be on very shortly, I think. Why is she texting me? Yeah, it should be fine. So we'll give it another minute. Also, throughout tonight's episode, I want people to tell us what you want to see on the show, if you have a category, because not that I'm running out of ideas, but I think the show is... When you view the show, do you think it's more fun with a guest or without?
With a guest.
Yeah, absolutely.
With a guest is
okay.
fine.
Yeah, so my big thing is I want to do more stuff with guests, because I could teach you guys and talk about my comics all day long, but eventually I think people will get bored of that. So I did that for a full month at one point, and not that I lost viewers, it was just less, even for me it was less fun. Like having somebody on the show makes it so much more exciting. Getting a viewpoint of somebody else probably makes it funnier for everybody watching, so we're going to start going with that more often as possible. Dylan is scheduled to be on an episode next month. We're going to try something for the very first time. We'll tell you about it later when we get to the end, so you guys know I tell you about what's coming up. So I think we should just start. The hard thing about this is I don't have a good starting point, to be honest. So basically what I want you to do is break down the game in like a kind of a short summary. So like,
short?
Yeah, so like you join a game, what are you doing? So like obviously it's 6v6,
right, so
take it from there.
The game is, by definition, it's a first-person shooter.
Right.
So like, same as Call of Duty, Battlefield, Halo, all that. It's your standard gun game. But it's a little different. This one's more team-based. There's not really a lot of solo missions. So the primary mode is a 6v6 objective-based shooter.
Okay, I think that's a beyond perfect answer. I think one of the coolest parts about this game, and I think it's even cooler for you than for me because I'm not as much into it, who runs the game?
What do you mean, who runs
Like, what's the company that...
Oh, Blizzard.
Right,
it's
yeah,
a Blizzard game. So, like,
so
guys
go ahead
who
and...
do,
Yeah, you go, because this is where I'm not good at.
World of Warcraft, StarCraft, Warcraft 3, Hearthstone, Hero of the Storms. I think Blizzard acquired or merged with Activision, who also does Destiny and...
Oh, that's right, yeah. And they did Call of Duty for a long time, yeah. I don't know if they still do, because...
like one version, I think it's Black Ops.
Yeah, it's one of the random, like, in-betweeners. Yeah, so what I think is also cool is... So Blizzard, it's not like you can go and play WoW on any system, right?
No, WoW is purely PC.
Are any other games that Blizzard makes, like Overwatch, where you can play them on multiple systems?
Diablo.
Okay.
I think Diablo is the only one other than Overwatch that's multiple platforms.
So that's what's cool, is that this game is played on the PC, it's played on Xbox and PlayStation. I think if the game came out for the Switch, and honestly, I think I'd buy it in a second to have mobile.
They're talking about
Overwatch.
They're considering.
So it'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, so for Blizzard fans too, because I mean Blizzard got incorporated into the game, they made a level based off of it. I think it was just a big thing overall. So again, 6v6 objective game. So we'll talk about... Hi, Aaron. Those are my homies at work. She probably has like 5 people watching. That's what's so good about her. Anyways, So explain the 4 main. So when you go onto the screen,
Okay.
you hit play. What are your 4 options across the board?
There's quick play,
Right.
arcade, competitive, and I think it's custom browser.
Yeah, custom browser. I don't think we touch much. We touch it for fun randomly when we did the triple hook with Rhoda.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so much fun.
I don't know if you're gonna touch that, but the new mode that they're coming out, it's a part of that.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
The workshop. Have you heard about the workshop?
No.
Oh, it's like Super Mario Maker mixed with the custom browser. You
Okay.
can basically, they give you more options to create your own game mode.
Really?
So if you
Okay.
want to talk about that later, we
Very
can.
cool. That's interesting. Hey, Dan. Go ahead, hit him with it.
Hmm?
I was hoping to give him the TFIT, TFTI, whatever it is. Okay, so we're gonna start with quick play. First, describe each mode of quick play.
Well, okay, quick play and competitive are the same thing. It's called quick play because it's only so. Not to go too much off topic, competitive. It's hard to talk about quick play without talking about competitive.
Absolutely.
So the main basis of the game is a 6v6 objective based game where competitive you play whether you're attacking and defending. You do both in competitive. Quick play is quick play because you only play one side. So you'll play the same maps, same objectives, but half. So you'll only attack or you'll only defend.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what makes it a faster game. It's half the game.
Okay, so now here's where our biased opinions are going to start to come in. Quick play to me, and especially the way we're playing right now, because we play PC a couple times a week if we can, if we have the time. The big thing is if we have time. For me right now, quick play is like training grounds. Because I'm trying to get better with a character. Because we're not going to talk about one tricking yet.
Okay.
But, so quick play is... Give me positives on quick play. Name a couple positive things about quick play.
Stress-free environment.
Okay,
Compared to
100%
competitive. Quick play isn't ranked. It's half the game, and it's
Big
not
part of
ranked as opposed to competitive. So a lot of people are basically playing it for fun. They're not playing for ranking. They're not going to lose anything if they lose. So it's a much more lax environment. You can play whatever hero you want to play. Of course, there are people out there who are a bunch of tryhards, and they're going to yell at you in quick play. But like you said, you get to practice new heroes and stuff and not have to worry about your ranking. So you can get better there before going to the competitive mode.
Yes, Dan, Overwatch.
Yes, Dan, Overwatch. And it's faster. Some games can
Right.
be like 20
Exactly, our
minutes.
competitive matches can run for a long time. Now give me some negatives to quick play.
Basically everything we just said. So you get people who are playing for fun. So if you're a tryhard, like sometimes you get in that competitive mindset, like everybody Doyle.
Right.
Since it's 6v6, you have to rely on your teammates. Otherwise,
Big
if
part.
they're
This
not
is
on the
where I'm
same
going
page.
with
So
this
if you
question.
get, me, you, and whoever go to play a game, and then all of your teammates are playing to practice or for fun, and they don't really care, it's hard for you to get a good practice in if you got guys running around just dying, and you're constantly dying because of it.
Right.
You know?
And a big part of the whole game is your comping. Your team selection and your hero selection, which we're going to go into and we're going to break it down a little bit. We're going to actually go character for character, I think, because I think that'll be a lot more fun. And again, I want to keep you going with what you're doing. So a big part of it, I think, with quick play is I might always tank, like we've been doing. Like, so here's a good example, is I've been practicing with Reinhardt, who's a tank, and I rely on Dylan as a healer. It just gives me a feeling in the back of my head knowing, okay, I have somebody behind me who's going to know what I'm doing and keep me involved in their part of the game. So we're going to run well together. But if the other 4 guys, so what's a good comp? Not using characters, like I have something in my head like how many tanks, how many healers, how many damage.
Okay, so the standard, the standard versus the meta.
This is where the game gets a little crazy.
Okay, so the standard by most people, they call it 2-2-2, which is 2 people in a tank role, 2 people in a damage role, and 2 people in a support role.
Right.
6.
Okay.
2 of everything.
Give an example of another one. Go with the NYXL one.
Oh, so not just the NYXL, but in the professional league, there's something called a meta. Meta can mean a bunch of things. I think the way I say it is most effective tactical advantage.
I didn't even realize it was an abbreviation.
Yeah, so like, really what you take from that is most effective.
Okay,
So like
right.
the most effective composition is the meta. So right now, like in the professional league, they run a lot of 3 tanks, 3 supports. So no damage. So what you have is basically 3 tanks with tons of health, with 3 healers healing them, so they basically stay alive forever. It's just the sustain. Like no amount of damage can do that.
And basically what happens is in a comp like that is as soon as like your main tank or your main healer die, pretty much defensively you have to retreat.
Yeah, especially in
the
professional league. I don't know if you want to talk about that much,
but a little bit, yeah.
You know, the higher ranks of professionals, since everybody is so like at a high tier, even if you're down 1 man and it's a 6 versus 5 guys, the guys with 6 are going to win.
Right.
I mean, at the lower ranks, you can have one guy who's better than everybody else, so you can kind of win on a 6v5. You know, one person can take out 2.
Agreed. Perfect. Okay. All right, so we're going to talk about some of the quick play. Oh, not the quick play and competitive. So you mentioned that quick play and competitive are the same. Name the main difference between competitive and quick play.
The main differences is competitive is twice as long. Like we said, you play both sides, attacking and defending. Most of the game modes, we didn't touch on the game modes yet,
right,
are basically attack and defense for the most part. And competitive, there's ranking.
It's ranking, really the big thing. So you win a match, you rank up. You lose a match, you go down, which is where competitive, that's where quick play comes in, because if you're not having a good day in competitive, you can always drop down to quick play. And again, I've been practicing personally quick play to get better for my possible new role in competitive. So I think that all makes sense. So we'll talk about the game modes. First, talk about the game mode Escort.
Escort. Okay, so the Escort game mode is basically you're moving some sort of cart. They call it a payload. Depending on the map, it's a different type of cart.
Right.
You know, it's kind of map specific, themed based. But basically, you come out of your room, your starting room, and you have to move a cart from the beginning of the map to the end of the map. Usually, there's 2 or 3 checkpoints along the way where you get more time when you hit that checkpoint, and you move the cart by being close in the vicinity of it. And if the enemy team is anywhere in that vicinity also, the cart doesn't move. So that's the defender's job, is to make sure you don't move the cart. And attacking, you want to move the cart.
Dan, to answer your question, personally, I think it's harder to play with people who aren't good at the game when you're depending God of War. So God of War, I 100% agree. God of War was, I don't think I ever beat a God of War except for the one for the PSP. Very difficult game, but I don't think it ruined the fun of it so much.
No.
But that was also a button masher. That's my other big fighting standpoint against God of War. Well, Overwatch, there are so many different roles you can play where you can get good at the game. But yes, if you're going competitive and that's your first thing out of the gate, it's just not going to go well.
To answer more of Dan's question, fun is kind of...
Oh, Gears of War. Oh, I love Gears of War.
Fun is like your own... Everybody has fun doing different things. So there's all these different game modes. So if you don't have fun being in competitive, if you don't like playing both sides, they have the arcade where they have different modes, so you're not ranked. They have custom modes, and you can make games to have fun.
Right.
You know, there are even modes where it's just like chill. So like people will just show up, not kill each other. It's called chill no kill or no kill and chill.
Okay.
And people just stand there. They do their little emotes. They talk. They do their voice lines, jump around, and just hang out.
Yeah, just mess around. But for Gears of War, I agree. Gears of War, when it came to going online, it was very difficult if you weren't in front of it. But back to it anyways. So Escort, we were talking about how you have to hit the...
Gears of War.
Yeah, I realize that until that. You had to move the payload, hit the checkpoints, and in the end, so you start on offense. That was the example we gave you. So wherever you end up, now flip the role.
Okay, so the winning team is the one whoever moves the cart furthest, or if they both move it all the way to the end, it goes by time. So I don't know. I think the starting time is 4 or 5, 6 minutes or something. So if you only get 2, the enemy team has to. So when you flip after your attack, you go to defense, and you have to try to stop the other team from getting it farther than you did. So if you only get 2 checkpoints, they need to get the second checkpoint and then push it. They don't have to get to the third. They just need to push it farther than you did between the second and third point. If you both make it, however much time you have left, you play another round of each side with the amount of time you have left. So if you only had a minute left and the other team had 3 minutes, they're going to have 2 more minutes than you to push the cart further. So they're already at an advantage.
And I think that's what brings in the competitive strategy of it all. So.
Yeah, with play, you don't have to worry about how well you did.
Exactly.
And
So now because we talked about Escort first, let's talk about hybrid.
Okay, so hybrid, that's actually good that we started with Escort. Actually, before we go into hybrid, do you want to talk about what the other version that hybrid is a hybrid of?
Sure, go ahead.
It's assaulting.
Oh, right. I understand now. Okay, I see where you go. So talk about assault. We'll come back to hybrid. Go to assault first.
Okay, so the other game mode called assault, along with Escort, is assault. Assault is where you need to capture 2 points, and the enemy or the attacking team needs to take a point by just basically standing on it. There's a big square. I guess you could call it like a King of the Hill, or assault type. I don't play many other games, so I don't know what other games would call it. So basically, the defending team has to hold that point without letting you take it. You stand in it for 10, 15 seconds. I don't time it.
Right.
And that's how you capture a point, and then you have to capture a second point.
Right.
Assault
so there's point A and then point B.
There's always 2 points.
Exactly.
So yeah, attacking, defending, you want to take the point, take the second point. The second point is always a lot harder than the first point to take. Just the way it's designed, the enemy team comes out a lot closer there. So if you kill them, they'll keep coming, almost like a flood.
Exactly, and some of the characters we'll go into are meant to move fast to get there faster than others.
Yeah.
So because we did that, now talk about control. I think control is more of the king of the hill.
Control. Now we didn't talk about hybrid.
Right, but I think control will then explain all of these together.
Well, okay, so control is basically assault, but it's like a neutral assault.
So I think that's more king of the hill.
Okay. So
if there's one hill, I don't know how king of the hill.
So basically, there's a zone. I guess you call it a point in the middle, and both teams start on 2 sides of the map. They meet in the middle, and they battle it out for that middle ground.
Right.
And whoever wins will take the ground, and they have to charge up they have to build it up to 100%.
Right. And every time an enemy steps on that land, they'll
start to capture it.
Exactly. So your goal is to keep the other team off of it, and the point keeps flipping back and forth. So.
You need to win 2 out of 3 of them.
Right,
not just winning the 1 point.
And that's what's cool about the maps is that you don't do the same point 3 times. So if your map is, give me an example of a map.
Lijiang Towers.
Okay, so there's 3 different neutral points. You don't do them all at once like we were just saying though. You go in, you do your first one, and then if I win the first one and he wins the second one, we go to a third one. So it's different locations on the map. It's really cool. It keeps the game interesting. It keeps it fun.
Yeah.
Now go into hybrid.
Okay, so hybrid.
Oh, hey man.
Okay, so hybrid isn't as much as like the neutral point, King of the Hill. Hybrid is when you're attacking, the other team's defense. So you have to assault a point, kind of like assault, and then after you get the point, you unlock the payload or the cart rather, and you have to escort the cart for 2 more points. So that's why they call it hybrid. It's a mix of the escort mode and the assault mode. You assault first, then escort.
Right.
But it's not really like control?
Right.
That neutral point, because the other team isn't battling for that same point and cart. They're defending that point and trying to stop you from moving that cart.
Okay.
And then vice versa, you defend that mode.
Gotcha.
But hybrid's cool because you get a little bit of both.
What keeps the game to you with those 4 things? So you're not going to play Escort on every map, right?
No, every map has a dedicated objective.
Right.
So like if you play, like I just mentioned, Lijiang Tower, that's only control.
Right.
So that's only that neutral attack for that map.
So which one is your favorite mode, and give me your favorite map based off of it?
I like hybrid.
Okay. Me too. I think hybrid is the most challenging overall.
Hybrid is cool because you get the 2 different objectives in one, so you kind of have to re-strategize.
Right.
After taking the first point, you go, okay, like with your team composition and things like that, depending on the map. This was, a certain composition will be good for assaulting a point, but not for moving a payload and so on and so forth. So it's kind of cool. You get a little bit of everything. You get to move the cart. You get to take a point. You don't have to worry about that second assault point that's so hard to win.
Of course.
Yeah. So I like hybrid.
You got a favorite map for it?
Favorite map. What are the
Kings Row.
Kings Row. I'm gonna say Kings Row.
Yeah, Kings Row is so much fun.
It's so hard. Like I like all the maps, but I think Kings Row is probably my favorite.
You know what I love about Kings Row?
Hybrid.
The insanity of the last point. I feel like we've held that point. Sometimes AJ, you've been there with us. I feel like we've held that last point for like 6 minutes sometimes.
It's really sometimes it's like an all or nothing. It's like you get that push, but if you get there and just stop, then the enemy team comes out with their like ultimate attack or whatever, and they'll just kill you. And going backwards. So you asked what my favorite mode and map was.
Yeah.
King's Row is definitely my favorite hybrid. Hybrid's my favorite type.
Okay.
But I don't think King's Row is my favorite map.
That's fair.
It's top 3, but it's not my favorite map.
That's fair. Totally fair. Okay, so we're going to go into competitive before we go into the characters and the hero selection. So competitive, we talked about comps. So we talked about the 2-2-2, the 3-3. What about grouping?
What do you mean grouping? Like
so
grouping up?
Yeah, so like since AJ's on and AJ plays with us, sometimes we'll use you as our best example. AJ, give a wave. So like obviously the game gets harder or easier depending on how many people you go in with. Do you agree?
Yeah. It doesn't purposely get harder.
Right, exactly. So it's hard. What's hard about going in with yourself? You go online and you want to play comp, and none of us are around to play. What makes it hard?
So now it's interesting because you can debate both sides of it.
Right.
So,
yeah. Go ahead.
So when you go, it's called solo queuing because you're going in solo. It's you and 5 random people to make up your team of 6. So now what's hard about that is you're depending on 5 complete strangers you've never met, you've never talked to, and I think they give you about 30 seconds before the match starts. Mm-hmm. So if you get put in with a guy who plays your favorite character, and you want to play that character, and you're not good with anybody else, it's now you're fighting this stranger, and he's supposed to be your teammate, and you're already starting a fight before the match starts. But it's just trying to get 6 total strangers to communicate and really work together. Yeah. So that's really the biggest challenge.
And I think, so now like we'll talk about 2s. I think there are days where you and me go on with 2. What was our quick play score the other night? Like 10-1? 8-1?
It felt like
it was insane. We just
15,
didn't lose on Sunday. We played on Sunday afternoon. We just didn't lose. We just kept running house. But there are days where we'll go on and we'll just lose and not stop.
Just matchmaking.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It depends who we get stuck with and all that. A big part of it is communicating. And I have flaws with, I think everybody in this game has a flaw with communicating at some point. So
because it's not your standard run and gun game.
Yeah.
You're not killing. It's not who can get the most kills because
right.
You can be the best shooter, but if nobody's healing you, you're gonna keep dying. So you can't do it all on your own, which is the hard part.
Hi, Jill. Hello now. Right. So yeah, communicating is good, especially for competitive. So like if you, me, and AJ are in a competitive match, 9 times out of 10 we're gonna opt into joining the team chat.
Because we're good guys.
Right, because we're good guys. That's a big part of it, because we'll get stuck with guys who don't want to join the team chat, and now we can't talk, and they're going to pick... I waved before, I was hoping you'd get that. And we're going to pick, maybe 2 healers, and AJ's going to tank for us, and those 2 guys might pick 2 other healers too, and we're like, oh great, now it's going to come down to we have to switch, and we might not get a role we like, or we might not get a role we're as good at, so communicating is a big part of the game. I do miss, on PlayStation, saying L1 out before... every match we just say L1 out because that's how you join the team chat.
I think we still say it sometimes.
Yeah, probably.
We start
when we first says a lot, yeah. Kind of broke down ranking a little bit. Explain. So when you start the game for the very first time, can you just play competitive?
No, you can't play competitive until you're at least level 25.
I think that's the best thing this game could have done. Because I look at in Quickplay some of the guys who tried a one trick, like we played with a level 7 Widow the other day. I mean, you knew they were going to suck, and they sucked. It's just part of the game because, like...
Smurfs, though.
True, no, absolutely. Oh, yeah. I don't know if we're going to talk about that.
Okay, yeah, a little in-depth.
So before you can get ranked, so you get level 25, now you want to go play competitive. You play your first game. Are you just ranked out of nowhere?
No, you have to do placement
matches.
Right.
So we're going to, before we go into the placement matches, real quick, we'll talk about seasons. So you guys can break down a season really quick, I guess.
Alright, so currently we're in season 16. The seasons worked a little different back when the game first started. So now we're in season 16. Seasons are usually... I don't really know how to define a season. It's basically you play competitive and you rank up or down. And at the end of the season, your rank is your final rank. And then you have to do placements for the next. However, lately... Well, okay, so they used to have gaps between their seasons.
Right.
Like it used to be a week, 2 weeks, something like that.
Yeah, it was...
Then it moved to a couple of days, then it moved to a couple hours, and now it's instant. So the bet, it doesn't really make sense. I'm not really sure the reasoning now to go from season to season. Like, say you end at a certain, like, gold rank, and then the next season you're starting again, but placements kind of place you where you ended. Right. So I think they're working on the matchmaking system, but right now there's really no rhyme or reason to why.
So yeah, so you play your 10 You play your first 10 matches every new season to set your rank. Now, we learned seasons ago that wherever you ended your previous season is pretty much where you start your new season, right?
Sometimes even lower.
Yeah, so it depends on how well you do in those 10 placement matches, which is where we'll talk about SR. So now we're going to go back into ranking really quick, so go ahead and talk about the SR.
Okay, so the ranking, so all of the ranks talking about them are bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, masters, grandmasters, and above that it's top 500 and then professionals.
So basically you get scored in every...
So the ranks are about 500 apart.
Yeah.
So a bronze ranking is...
Like 1,400.
1,400. Yeah, so I think it's I don't even know if below 1,000 is considered unranked. No, I think it's still bronze.
Wow,
so the lowest rank, obviously, you can get is bronze, which is up to 1,499. So at 1,500, you rank up to silver for the next 500 points, I guess you could call them.
Right.
So 1,500 to 2,000. At 2,000, you get gold. 2,500 is platinum. 3,000 is diamond. 3,500 is masters. 4,000 is grandmasters. 4,000 and above is grandmasters. Up until top 500.
Yeah. So
top 500 usually falls around 4,600 SR. So there's no actual ranking.
Right.
So like at 4,500, you don't automatically go from grandmasters to top 500.
Okay.
Top 500 is just the top grandmaster levels.
Right. It's just like that one more split. Sacto, what's up, man?
And also, just to go back on ranking, sometimes your ranking, you get more ranking by winning.
Right.
So you can be the best person in the match by far, but if you had a bad team and you lose, you're still going to lose ranking.
Right. So ranking, what are the points you average losing?
Okay, so if you're playing with a team average that's below yours, you're going to lose more. But, okay, so let's say on average you lose 30,
okay.
25.
Yeah,
I'd say 25.
Fair number, perfect.
You can lose, but I'd say 20 and 30 is more gain than losing. I'd say you'd probably lose about 5 more than you gain.
Right.
So
that's where it becomes hard because we're talking about all these rankings and how you have to gain 500 points when you only win 25 points a match. And that's if you win. So 4 matches might take you an hour of competitive mode. And it's also only going to put you up 100 points. So if you started at silver at 1,500, you're at 1,600. You're still silver for a while. It's a mountain to climb.
Oh, yeah. They call it a ladder.
The ladder, that's right.
Yeah, they call it a ladder. Or the salt staircase, according to some.
Yeah. So we just talked about the competitive mode. So like I said, we were going across. Let's talk about some hero selections.
Fun part.
I think
what makes the game fun.
I think I want you to break down every character, to be honest.
Every character?
So
okay, I'll try to keep it very short.
Yeah, so basically, there's 3 types of heroes. You have your tanks, your support, and your damage. We talked about roles. So I'm going to name a character. Dylan's going to name their basic weapon. Every character has 2 abilities. And then every character gains an ultimate when they hit 100% of it. So what I'm going to ask of you is character's main weapon, if they're tank, support, or damage. I actually have them in order. Never mind. We're going to go through tanks first.
I don't know the names of their weapons. I know
that's more than fair. Just
okay, I know basically what they are, what type of weapon for...
Right. So like my mom is on and my mom doesn't know anybody who's playing. So basically break it down for her, alright? Okay. So we're going to start with tanks. Go with Diva.
Okay, Diva, she basically...
Grab her. This is a good way to do it too.
So I shouldn't really go into like their background, right? Not all characters have like a background story. So Diva, okay, real quick, she's like a gamer, and she rides this little. They call it a mech.
It's actually big.
She calls it the mecha. Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's like a big robot basically. She controls it. She has like a suit. Like she sits inside it. She's a tank because she's in this big thing. She's got little laser guns that shoot pretty fast. But her main job as a tank, she has something called Defense Matrix, which absorbs...
That's one of her abilities.
Which absorbs attacks.
It does no damage.
Throws out a shield, so if somebody's shooting at you, she flashes it, and it just sucks up... It's like an invisible force field.
Right.
It just eats everything. And her other ability is just a booster. Oh no, I'm sorry, she has 2 abilities.
Oh, she has 3 abilities.
She has 3 abilities. Okay, so some characters have more.
Some characters have a lot more.
So Defense Matrix is her primary use. Then she has blaster, like a stronger blaster. I don't know what it's called.
It shoots like rockets.
In the mech, it shoots rockets, and then she has like a jetpack booster.
Yeah.
And her ultimate is
go ahead.
Diva Bomb.
Yeah.
No, it's actually called self destruct. I think it's called.
Oh,
Basically,
yeah.
she jumps out of her mech, throws it, and just makes it blow up.
Yeah.
And it blows up everything.
Yeah, if you're not behind something, it kills you.
Yep.
So it's huge. It's a nice match ender. I should have said this. Tanks overall. What's the biggest thing about them? What's like their health?
Okay, so they're called tanks when I first started playing World of Warcraft, I had no idea what tanks meant. I felt like an actual army tank. So for those of you who don't play games like Becky and anybody else out there, a tank basically means you are the biggest, boldest, you have the most armor.
You're the badass.
Like, you're the biggest motherfucker in the game. You have more health than everybody, more armor, and that's basically the role of tank is to take hits because you have more health than your teammates.
Right. Cool.
So yeah, D.Va in her mech, she has a lot of health in that big, gigantic mechanical suit of hers, and she eats bullets to save her teammates.
Perfect.
That's her tank role.
Orisa. So Orisa is another tank. I think she's back there.
Orisa is
we have a bunch back there.
Yeah, we have a bunch back there.
Seeing them.
Orisa is my personal favorite tank. Orisa is kind of like, she was a robot. It's a girl robot. Basically, her primary fire is it's called Fusion Driver. I do know that one because I play her.
It's a cool name.
It's almost like an automatic assault rifle, but it's not actual bullets. It's kind of like little laser pellets. So it just shoots rapid fire. She has an ability called Fortify, which makes her stronger. It gives her like a coat of armor temporarily, so she takes less damage because armor is obviously armor. She has a shield. So what she does, she can project the shield wherever she wants to. She can only have one up at a time, but she can shield her teammates by throwing one out, holding
It's big enough to protect everybody.
Yeah, it's kind of like a semi.
And your teammates' attacks go through it while the attacking teams do not.
And she has a halt ability.
Right.
So she can throw out this big like gravitational ball that pulls everything to it. So that helps your team out more offensively than defensively.
Absolutely, I would 100%.
Or well, actually, if somebody's coming at you or somebody's coming at one of your teammates, you can throw that ball to pull them away.
Reinhardt.
Okay, Reinhardt, I feel like is like the face of the game of the tank.
Absolutely.
Role. Reinhardt is, like I said, the biggest, boldest guy with the most armor. He's decked out like a complete, like armored soldier. Like you can see,
he's like a giant knight.
He's a giant knight with a big hammer, and he has a huge shield that he just holds up. So that's his primary thing. Is he has a shield. His weapon is a mace, so he whips things around, and his fire.
No, the mace is Brigade.
Well, it's not a
hammer. Oh, it's like a hammer.
Okay, so it is a hammer.
Yeah,
sorry, not a mace.
It still depends on what.
Two-handed hammer that he whips.
Nice, you're still good. Yeah.
And then his fire.
Yep, so his fire strike.
His fire, and he could charge people.
Right, his fire. Well, we're coming up to Wrecking Ball.
Yeah.
Oh wow, we might have a new Overwatch friend. Yeah, and he has a charge, so he charges at people. What's the big difference between the shields with Reinhardt and the shields with Orisa?
So Orisa shields have about half the amount of health. Not that people want to get into the nitty gritty. Reinhardt shield is 2,000. Orisa has 900, I think. So Reinhardt holds his shield up. It's just in front of him. So you have to stay with him. It can't move. Orisa can project her shields where she wants them. So like I could be here and I could shield somebody over there.
Right. What about advancement?
I'm sorry. What?
So what about like advancement, like mobility with the shields? So like Orisa shield, you shoot it.
Okay, so Orisa's shield is an ability, so it's on a cooldown. So after you throw your shield, you have to wait for your ability to cool down. So you can throw the shield. If it gets destroyed, you still have to wait to throw another one. But you can, if your teammate, depending on the type, you want to keep moving forward.
Right.
Throwing down. A few seconds later, keep moving forward. Reinhardt just walk with it.
Right. Reinhardt just keep moving. It's a big part of the game. Go to road. Oh. What about the?
Do you want to get into the specifics of off tanks and main tanks?
No.
Okay.
What is Orisa's ultimate? We found ultimates for the last two.
Oh, okay. So going back to Orisa's ultimate real quick, she drops like this totem-looking thing. People call it bongo. And what it does, it just sends out beams to your team to charge them.
Right in the local area.
It helps. It like boosts their attack.
Yep. And what about Reinhardt's?
And Reinhardt's is he takes his hammer, he slams it down, and knocks everybody to the ground.
Right. And when you're on the ground, you're defenseless. So a big part of it is landing it correctly.
Yep.
Now going to Roadhog.
Roadhog, this is our buddy Doyle's favorite character. He's also in the back. We have one here with a cool Halloween themed skin.
We're gonna go into the themes and explain that to you.
Roadhog is basically this He doesn't have armor. He just has a lot of health because he's a big guy. His main ability, so he has a shotgun that he can shoot at close and far range, and the bullets spread out. It's not just a regular shotgun,
right?
One bullet. It's like a shotgun that sprays bullets. His hook is really his major thing, so he can hook people and pull them in and then shoot them.
Right.
And one of his other abilities is called Take a Breather.
I don't know if it's called.
He drinks something, or
I don't know if he just inhales it.
So he can heal himself is one of his abilities. Which is cool as a tank, having that much health on top of healing yourself makes you very self-sustaining. So going back to what we said about relying on other people, he doesn't really rely on other people.
And his ultimate.
And his ultimate is
Whole Hog.
It's called Whole Hog, but I don't know what kind of gun it is. It's basically like a rapid fire of his shotgun spray. So it sprays and it knocks people back, but like non-stop.
Right. It's for a limited time. Winston.
Winston, is one of the main. We don't have anything on Winston. Winston is also one of the first, like when the game first came out, like the trailer for it. He's like
Tracer.
I'd say Winston is probably the face. Winston and Tracer are like the face of the game. Okay, so Winston is a monkey who most of his one of his abilities to. Sorry, should I talk about the weapon first?
Sure, go into the weapon.
So his weapon, I think, is called a Tesla cannon. It's basically just like a cannon that shoots laser beams, or lightning rather, not lasers. It's like he shoots lightning at people.
You have to be in a certain range for it. It's not a long distance weapon.
Yeah, it's not long distance. So I'm trying to go quick because there's a lot.
No, take your time. Keep going what you're doing. We'll
so
keep breaking it down a little bit.
One of his abilities is to leap, so he can jump in with a jetpack basically, but it's like a one-dimensional type.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
It's not like a jetpack where you fly wherever you
want.
Right. It flings you forward or whatever direction you want to go in.
It's a frog splash.
And then you can. His third ability is just a shield. He drops like a bubble shield. So kind of like how we said, Reinhardt holds a shield. Ursa projects like semicircle shields. His is like a dome. He actually drops an entire dome in a spot.
Perfect. And his ultimate.
And his ultimate is called Primal Rage, where he basically just goes. Can I say ape shit?
Yeah.
Okay, so he goes bananas and just like gets super angry and just starts wailing things.
Yeah, he just swings his arms around. He gains 1,000.
Yeah, so his health increases, his leaping speed increases, and he just whips things around basically.
If at any point you need to take a breath, let me know. But until then, you just keep rolling with it. Go to Wrecking Ball.
Wrecking Ball, going back to D&B Comics comment. Wrecking Ball is he might be the newest tank. He came out earlier
he's
this
definitely
year.
the newest tank. Is he the newest hero?
Yeah, so what's nice about this game too is they keep doing updates. So they add characters, maps, and game modes, things like that. So anyway, so Wrecking Ball is one of the newer tanks. His backstory is similar to Winston's. He's another animal. So Wrecking Ball is a hamster.
A hamster.
He's a hamster in like this giant wrecking ball. Well, okay, so you know how hamsters run around in these little balls.
Yeah.
So he basically has a giant one with guns on it.
Yeah.
But he's this little tiny hamster that goes around. It's kind of similar to Diva. He has like a mech ball.
Dan, you dick.
So yeah, Wrecking Ball. His main gun is just shooting like assault. He's got like 2 SMG guns. So he could swing around in his ball. Like he can grapple hook and swing. And Pile Driver, which slams the ground, pushes the enemies up in the air, which kind of stuns them for a bit. And then he has a shield, so he can make himself stronger. Kind of like Orisa.
Okay, perfect. And his ultimate?
His ultimate, he drops like a bunch of little mine. He basically makes a small minefield.
Yeah.
Like a bunch of little balls come out that you can't step on. Or you'll blow up.
I feel like it's the most useless.
No, the job of
ult out there.
Well, the job of some tanks is to create space.
Right, and that's exactly what it does.
So tank's job is to take space for your team, so those little balls can deny the other team that space.
Fair enough, perfect.
So if you want a space, you want to go, drop them.
These are parts of the game that I don't look at the Helix at, so that's why we have him doing this episode with us.
Yeah, so it's not pointless.
It's not pointless. Let's go to Zaria.
Zaria is my least favorite tank, so we got one behind us.
Oh, yeah.
So she's this big Russian woman with a weightlifting woman with a. She basically shoots a laser. She's like got this big gun that just shoots lasers and balls and things. Her abilities are very similar. So one of her abilities is to put herself in a temporary shield that absorbs damage, and the more damage she absorbs, the stronger she gets.
Right.
And her other ability is to throw that same shield on somebody else, on one of your teammates. So if they take damage, she gets stronger. So they don't get stronger, she gets stronger.
Zaria, I have learned in the past week, is one of the scarier players in the game.
Yeah,
when she's hot.
I hated her forever. I just didn't want anything to do with the character. I thought she was pointless, but her utility is so good. Her ultimate is basically similar to what Orissa's does, like her ability that pulls people in, but it actually makes like a black hole. Yeah, it's called graviton. No.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. We call it grav for short.
Yeah.
So she shoots out like a black hole and it sucks everything in and holds it there. So your team can just
you just lay down everything you can. Mm-hmm. So that's it for tanks. We're gonna go on to damage. Again, if you need to trade off, you let me know. But you're doing great. We're gonna start with the second newest character in the game. We're gonna start with Ashe.
Well, Ashe is the newest DPS character.
Right.
DPS stands for damage per second. So if we say DPS, we're talking about a damage. Usually it's some type of shooter.
When the game first came out, there were actually like 6 different classes of heroes. Now
they split DPS into defense and offense. Okay, so Ashe, little cowgirl. Her main gun is like a shotgun.
Like a rifle.
Like a rifle, yeah. And she can zoom in, kind of scope with it. It's not actually like a sniper rifle. Mm-hmm. But it is, sort of. So her abilities, she throws like a stick of dynamite that blows up and burns people. And then she also has an ability that she shoots like a pistol that knocks herself back and knocks her enemy back as well.
Yeah. And then go into her ult.
Her ultimate, she throws her handy Bob. So B&B Comics said it. Her ultimate is, I don't know if it's called Bob.
So, I don't know.
So her partner in crime is this tank-looking guy called Bob. He's kind of like a robot. So she throws him out, and he just shoots everything. He's got like maybe like 1,000 health. Yeah. He's basically a temporary tank that you can throw out, and he doesn't miss. Like he locks on.
He makes you stay right. He makes you stick behind the walls and everything. Mm-hmm. Perfect. Go on to Bastion.
Bastion is so. He's like a mobile turret. He's like a robot. To explain to people who don't know the game, he's basically like a turret robot. So he walks around, he can't actually talk, he just beeps, and he can go into a turret mode where he doesn't move and he just unleashes...
Right, so his weapons changes. His regular rifle only carries like 30 rounds. When he goes into, that's essentially when he goes into turret mode, he has 300.
Yeah, he has 300 and he's just basically a turret that just rapid fire.
Burns down shields, it does everything you need. It's just hard with him because you're stuck standing still. The good thing about him, though, also is that he can heal himself for a limited time.
Yeah, that's his other ability. And his main ability is just shooting out more like, what do you call them? Not rockets. Would you call them rockets? He kind of turns into like what you would imagine a tank to be, like an army tank.
Right.
He turns into an army tank mode and just shoots like single shots.
Mm-hmm. You think we should keep going or just break it down, pick a couple more?
I mean, maybe we won't go in depth about all of them.
I'm trying to think because we're gonna go over the hour, so we're gonna start a new part of the episode anyways. I'm just thinking of what's left. With 17 minutes. Let's do a couple more. Alright, talk about Fara.
Okay, we'll talk about Fara because she's a player that I play a lot. So Fara has an actual jetpack. I mentioned the jetpack with Winston. So she has like your traditional where she's back there. So you could fly with it. You take your jetpack, you go straight up, you stay, you fly. And her main weapon is she shoots rockets. She has a rocket launcher that shoots down people. So one ability is to shoot up with your jetpack. Your other ability is you shoot a rocket, but that rocket doesn't hurt people so much. It just knocks them away, or knocks them into a certain position. So you can knock them off the map, knock them back, things like that.
And then her ultimate?
Her ultimate is a barrage, where she just shoots a million rockets at you at once. So instead of just shooting one, you just get a rain of rockets.
Perfect. And then let's do Torbjorn.
Torbjorn is this guy right here, little, what is he, Swedish engineer?
Something like
that. Like IKEA. So he specializes in building weapons. So what he does is he builds turrets that they changed him a little bit, but he has a little gun where he fires, so it is a molten...
Yeah, it's like molten lava.
He shoots like molten lava out of his gun. But the unique thing about him is he can build a turret, and then that turret can, fight for him while he goes off and shoots his thing. And he used to be able to throw armor packs, not anymore. Yeah. Now he just has an ability that he gets armored up himself.
Right. Yeah. And his weapons become stronger with it as well. He gets faster shots. His ult also changed. Because his ult used to be level 3 turret, right? And
yeah, his ultimate used to be that his turret got stronger.
Right.
He got more defensive. He got some armor,
Mm-hmm.
and he shot faster. Now he sprays his molten lava everywhere.
Right. And then we'll just talk about two healers. First one, talk about Mercy.
Mercy, okay, she's kind of like the iconic healer of the game too. She's kind of like a guardian angel type looking character, just to give you guys an idea. So she has this staff that basically, if you use it one way, you can heal a person with like a healing beam, and her other ability is just like a power up beam, so you could power them up instead of healing them. It's really all there really is.
Yeah,
her ultimate. They've changed it a couple times. She can she's the only character who can resurrect people.
Mm-hmm. It's a big part of it.
Now she can only resurrect one person in 30 seconds. And her ultimate, she can basically fly permanently for the entire time of her ultimate.
Right, and she has unlimited ammo, which not really a big part of it.
Yeah.
And then talk about Zenyatta.
Zenyatta is a healer that I play a lot. And Jonak. Going to the overall team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Zenyatta is basically a robot who throws orbs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so his main attack is he's kind of like a monk. If you ever seen like Airbender,
right?
Avatar. He's kind of like think of him like an airbender. He shoots little orbs. They kind of look like air. They're blue.
Right.
So he shoots them. But his main abilities is he has a healing orb that he can place on a teammate, which heals them over time if they have it over their head. Or he throws something called a Discord orb, which he can throw on an enemy, which makes that enemy take more increased damage.
And then his ultimate?
And his ultimate is called Transcendence, where he's just one big beam of light that makes him invincible himself, but his teammates, it doesn't make them invincible, but it just heals them super quick.
Mm-hmm.
So his teammates can still die through it, but they're basically invincible.
Perfect. Okay. So what we're going to do here, guys, I know we've done this in the past, so if you haven't watched the show, so every hour I have to restart the live video. So what's going to happen is we're going to end this video. I'm going to save it, so give it about a minute. We're going to come right back on, and we're going to play a couple games. Then we'll do some more stuff, because I think so far this episode is going great. I like that I haven't had to talk much. This is fantastic. I'm sure you guys love it too. So I'm going to end the video, so back out of it, and then what's going to happen is you're going to see me start a new live video. Click into the new live video, okay? And we'll see you back in a minute or two. Alrighty? We'll give you time to get back on, don't worry.